to, connect with everybody. When we're back in person, one of my goals for the top 20% was to do these like smaller breakouts anyway. So I figured this was a good time to test it.
Perfect.
So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yep.
No problem.
How are you doing, Gene?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Fabulous. We have a bunch of talented individuals on the call today that are really looking forward to hearing you.
Well, that's going to be a fun conversation then, I hope.
Yes, it is.
With a little pain mixed in.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to get started.
Sure.
I want to introduce Gene Rivers. Some of you may know him. If you don't, he's an amazing individual who started real estate in 1990 and down in Miami, where my father's from. And Hurricane Andrew came along and completely wiped his business out, restarted in 1992, and has grown to own 4 market centers, a title company, a mega team. Him and his wife do a lot of great business, and he's a big contributor to KWRI and to the KW community. So without further ado, I want to welcome you, Gene Rivers.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Woo!
Well,
We unmute ourselves. Welcome, Gene.
So, hey, Gene, can you talk a little bit about your mindset around, what you did after Hurricane Andrew, how you rebooted yourself and your company and got to where you are right now?
Sure. We didn't realize what we were doing at the time. My wife and I, because we did lose everything, relocated to another city. We were living in a garage. We had 2 kids, but we knew what we wanted. And what we wanted was to get out of that garage, and we wanted to get into a new house, and we wanted to be in the top 10 in the board of realtors, all in our first year in the new market. Mm-hmm. And we'd been in the business a little more than 3 years, and we understood the fundamentals of the business. And that's an important element, is understanding the fundamentals of this business. Fundamentals meaning they're always going to work no matter what. That's what fundamentals are. They always work. They always work. So we understood the fundamentals, and we knew that we could build a serious business if we simply paid attention to that and followed a plan, a detailed written plan. And that's what we did. So we attacked the market in Tallahassee in January of '93. And we got the new house in July. And by the end of the first year, we were number 9 in the board of realtors out of 1,100 agents. And the second year, we moved in the number 1 spot, and we continue with our market center now. Our market center has 350 agents out of 1,200 agents in the board, and we dominate in every characteristic you can analyze. So I understand getting kicked in the teeth, because along that journey since Andrew, we got hit really hard with the dot-com bust of '99 and 2000 on Wall Street. We got hit hard, of course, by the whole country got hit hard by 9/11. We had the collapse, of course, in 06, 07, 08 in Florida, which was devastating. That was horrendous. And along the way, there were 2 more hurricanes that we had to deal with that weren't national problems, but they severely impacted us. And the most recent one was 15 months ago with Hurricane Andrew, flattening one of our office buildings in the city of Panama City on the northern Gulf Coast. And we had 42 agents who lost their homes. And this is not unexpected to me. And if you've been in KW any length of time and been paying attention, Gary Keller's been saying to you point blank for about 5 years now, there is a downturn coming. There is one coming. And all he's saying is that statistically, even though the markets were going up, statistically, he knew that the charts and graphs said, we're due. We're due. It's going to happen sooner or later. And sure enough, here it is. And like a lot of recessions, it shows up really hard and really fast. It's surprising how hard and quick it can collapse, but it did. So my mindset about this is, number 1, don't be shocked. So people that are like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. That they're saying to me, I'm not a prepared individual. I'm not a student of business, and I'm not paying attention to the game, because the game is going to show up and hit you hard. Chris, it's a hard thing, but we're seeing it all over our company, but all over NAR. The simple fact that people don't look ahead and they don't see it's coming, because a lot of them are flat-footed now. They're running out of cash because they didn't have 6 months of personal cash reserves in a bank account. And if you want security from downturns, and realize a downturn could be personal, like us when we got hit by a hurricane, or it could be really personal, like any one individual could have an illness or an accident and be unable to work for 6 months or a year. So if you think you're immune and you don't need 6 months reserve, you're simply naive, or you're lying to yourself. So a lot of people are called unprepared, Chris, just because they literally don't have their head on straight. And if you think about Keller Williams and all of the training materials we have, the most important training always keeps coming back to me as being quantum leap, where you get your head on straight and you think about your disciplines. And one of those, of course, is money, the money disciplines. And if you pay attention to quantum leap and follow the path to getting clearer thinking and more powerful thinking in your life, and then you pay attention to the disciplines and honor those disciplines, and realize you will benefit long term by having, not by being a disciplined person, but by having discipline in your life in certain key areas. If you will do that, you will never get caught flat-footed, and you certainly will have tools and assets with which you can deal with whatever you're dealing with. So that's a long-winded way of getting going, but here's the first issue. The first issue is always face reality. What's reality? And the reality right now, I hear a lot of people saying we're in the new normal. No, you're not in the new normal. You're in the immediate collapse due to the coronavirus, COVID-19. You're in a wave, and this wave is going to be measured in weeks or months, not years. Recessions are measured normally in years. This is going to be measured in weeks or months. If you look at what you have to deal with, you stare right at the reality of the situation. You should do some research. I went back and looked at pandemics, and the history of pandemics and how long they run and what the economic impacts are. And the truth is, all the way back to the 1918 flu, because that's far enough, there's been plenty of them: swine flu, avian flu, SARS. I mean, we've had many pandemics since the 1900s in this country and in the world. And when you look at them, they typically have a shelf life of about 7 months, the pandemic itself, meaning it will rise in new cases, and then it will start to go down. And when it gets to the point where things are more or less back to normal, not eliminated, but more or less back to normal, that run is about 7 months. So if you look at the Hunan province right now, where this originated, it started up in December, and now it is April. That is 5 months. And they are taking down the makeshift hospitals. They're removing the road barricades. Businesses are back open again. In fact, all the Apple stores are open in the Hunan province, and they're all closed in the United States. So they are not back to normal, but they are through the run of the virus. It appears through the run. It's blew up, it's gone down, and things seem to be moving back towards some sense of normalcy. Well, it hit us in January. This is now April. We're 4 months in. The research says we've got 3 more months to get through this thing before we can have any semblance of business getting back to normalcy, however you define that. And I'm looking at that, and I'm watching, and I'm very aware that what we have to do, and this is argumentative, I'm not saying this is the answer or not, but what we have to do through May, June, and July, or through April, May, and June, there's a 3-month window. We're already into April halfway, but either by the end of June or by the end of July, we should be approaching some kind of The virus has taken its toll, and now it's receding. At that point, we'll begin the new normal. And the new normal is going to be the economic wave of recovery. And that will become the new normal. So, Chris, the point I'm getting at is there are absolute changes to your business that are absolutely important for right now. And don't expect the right now mode of operating to be a long-term issue. It's right now for literally 10, 12 weeks of how you're going to operate, and then you're going to shift again, and then you're going to be shifting into the new normal. And the funny thing about what's going on right now, Chris, is what you're doing right now, what you're going to do in the next 10 or 12 weeks to survive is going to be part of your new normal. This is not going away because we all started the year. We had our business plan, Chris, and we said, okay, 2020 is going to be a big year, and here's how I'm going to do it. And now here we are, 3-4 months later, bam, we're doing business like this. Nobody's doing business like anybody's ever done business. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody was prepared, but this is how we're doing business. And we're doing business on a digital platform. The way that we're meeting right now, this is how you do business. And you can do business start to finish on this platform. You can find them, you can set the appointment, you can have the appointment, you can sign them up as buyers or sellers, you can get their property on the market as long as you have access into the MLS. There are a few areas where actually the MLSs are shut down, but that's a small minority of areas. But if you can get into and promote property online, then you can put property up, and if property is going up, then the buyers can find property to buy, and you can find it, select it, do the contract, get it executed, and take it to closing. And you can do that. And anybody who thinks you can't do that is not paying attention, because it's literally being done right now. Most markets have the ability to still do showings, and they're being done very, very few. They're typically done only 1 or 2 properties where people can do showings, and they're doing the deal. The way we're doing it is you're going to either see it one time before you execute the contract, you're going to pick the house, or you're going to make a contract subject to viewing the property within 48 hours of a fully accepted contract. And all we're trying to do with those strategies is minimize risk to the buyers, the sellers, the agents, the appraisers, and the inspectors, and everybody else. Nobody needs to do anything that's not an essential need to get something closed. So I know your market's been one of the hardest constrained markets in the country, but the reality is you can still do digital selling. And a lot of agents who think, whoa, this is something new, this is something radical, I don't know if anybody will be willing to do that, they're not paying attention. This is back to facing reality. Rebekah and I have done a lot of corporate relocation work, and the way corporate relocation happens is somebody comes to town, they interview for the position, they want a Chamber of Commerce tour from the agent, they want to see sample properties in the areas they decide they want to live in, and in the price range they're willing to spend, and then they go back home, and then they find out they got the job, and then they're online, looking at properties, the agent's sending them, here's a great one that meets all your wants and needs in the area and the money's right, and they will pick one and buy one, and they haven't actually seen that house. People buy new construction all the time, Chris. It's a set of plans. They've never seen the house. They don't walk through the house, and yet they'll buy typically per foot. It's the most expensive house they'll buy, and there's nothing to see and walk through to buy, and yet they buy it. People will buy houses they haven't seen, and if you think they won't, again, you're not paying attention. It's as much as 8 to 10% of the normal real estate market are people buying homes they've not seen. 8 to 10%. So it's not a problem people buying. It makes it more challenging, it makes it more difficult, but it's doable. So you've got to understand what to do right now in that world, but here's back to my point, Chris. So everybody thought they were going to start the year doing this, and now they're doing that. But when restaurants are open, the malls are open, people are going back to work in their offices, we're not going back to this. We're going to go to this, because there's a real funny thing that's happening right now. And it literally is about the one thing section about habits. It literally is about habits. So America's full of people right now that are sitting where most of you are at home, and they're doing their job like you're doing it online, and they're on Zoom, they're on Google Hangouts, and they're doing their business this way. And if they're working with an agent, they're doing the agent business this way. And people are getting very used to the tools. They're getting very acclimated to the way you make progress with your business with these tools. And agents are reporting something that's really quite fascinating. They're reporting that the online consultations with buyers and sellers are actually shorter in time than they were doing at the tabletop or at the kitchen table. And they're also higher in conversions. So when you discover a way for you to work with buyers and sellers that takes less time and is more effective, higher conversions, why would you want to walk away from that? That would be, there's a word for it. It's stupid. So you don't want to do that. And the flip side of that, Chris, is consumers, a lot of them are actually enjoying the process better, which is why the appointment is shorter and which is why the conversions are higher. So the agents that are dealing with agents that are competent with a Zoom presentation, they know how to use the charts and the graphs displays. They pick them so they're legible on a small screen. So they're not just throwing their pre-list book on screen and nobody can read it because it's too small. They're building quality presentations using the tools. It's not complicated, but they're learning, they're role playing, they're practicing, and they're getting good at the consultation, and they're getting good at, now we're going to do the paperwork, and they're getting good at pulling up the paperwork and getting everything signed, and away you go. And the people that are doing that now are learning the essentials for a new consumer who's coming out on the back end, more willing and more able, and actually wants to do more of a digital relationship with the agent in the future. And this is going to be a huge separator going forward. The agents who've jumped into technology at a higher level have adapted their business operations to embrace technology with the consumer, and then use that knowledge at the same time to go build a new pipeline of business, which we can talk about doing that. But this is not the new normal, but this is preparing you for the new normal, which is a mix of pre-corona and post-corona tech experience.
Wow, great stuff. That's awesome. I have one more question for you, then I kind of want to open it up to everyone, whoever has some questions for Gene. And if you would, please put the questions in the chat room. And then Tori, if you wouldn't mind moderating those questions. Gene, what can agents right now do in regards to opportunities that are out there? And I'll give it, you talked about some of the opportunities. I'm a big proponent of looking at pre-foreclosures and REOs. I think that there'll be an opportunity for that, if not now, definitely in the next couple months. What other opportunities do you think agents should be focusing on?
Well, I think I hear what you're saying. I think a lot of people are jumping the gun on that. Mm-hmm. Only for this reason. Remember, the first wave is the virus. The second wave is the economic recovery wave. And that's where we're going to find out about the true damage to the economy, to the workplace that this virus has done. If you look at, again, the economic histories of pandemics, they come in, they rise, and they're gone in 7 months. And during that time, they play holy hell with the economy. But once they're gone, the economies usually recover very quickly. And the amount of time it takes to recover is 2 to 4 months for each month of the virus. So if the virus is in your area, we'll take Hunan, it's 5 months from last December to April, 5 months. It's going to take them 10 to 20 months to get back to economic normalcy, 10 to 20 months. So that will not create massive amounts of foreclosures if that's what happens here. Our problem is they identified it in one area, and because of the nature of their government, they were able to go in and shut down the entire province and just take control of the situation. It closed schools, stop everything immediately. United States, that's not what's happening. We got people that have been traveling all over the country, all over the world, coming back and infecting different cities at different rates. And New York seems to have peaked, and now they're on the backside. New York City, they're on the backside possibly of the wave through them. And yet we have places like Houston and Chicago and Miami that it's still starting to take off, and it's getting ready to go, 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 go. So we are not uniform in how we're dealing with this. And that could mean somebody could be ready for a rip-roaring economy in New York City, and yet the rest of the country is holding them back because they're still in the throes of isolation and stay-at-home orders. So it's not clear about that, but here's my point. There's huge opportunity right now, but I think it's much more now business than it is down the road, foreclosure, REO, shorts, that kind of stuff. So everybody that's on this call, I got to believe, had a business plan going into 2020. You had an expectation for how many houses you wanted to sell. And if you're any kind of a seasoned agent, you literally started the year with a pipeline. You had people that last fall told you, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to move. 2020 is our year, but we're going to do it in the springtime. We're going to put the house on the market, maybe April or May. We're going to sell in May or June, and we're going to move in June or July. So that's our plan. And you built a pipeline of people that would do it in January, February, March, April, May. You had people plugged in. So April 1 hit. You should have had a pipeline that said, here's my A's, B's, and C's. So here's my April people. I got my May people coming up, and I got people out there in June. And I got them all lined up. It's the 2 best quarters of the year, and I'm ready to go. Well, guess what? A bunch of your April people are not going to do it. Some of them are not sure if they're going to do it, and some still want to do it. So what you should have done starting April 1 was you get up every morning at 8 a.m. and you get on that phone and you call your A's. Hey, Chris, Gene Rivers, how you doing, buddy? Yep, it's April 1. I talked to you last November and verified again in February that you and Martha wanted to put the home on the market in April and sell it in May or June and move in June or July. And that was our plan, and that was what we're working for. Well, it's April 1, buddy. April Fools. Guess what? The coronavirus is here. Changed the way we look at things, changed the way we do things, but you can still buy and sell property. So tell me what's on your mind. Are you ready to do it? Do you have questions or fears, or do you not want to do it? Where are you at? Tell me where you're at, Chris. And you should have clarified the A's now from not being A's anymore. So you should be literally, the mindset here is close out your pipeline. You have a pipeline that's been trashed, and you need to clean up and close out that pipeline and build a new pipeline. So you're going to find there are people that want to go ahead, and some of them have to go ahead. And then there are people that aren't sure, and they have either one of 2 questions, and the questions are about the virus and safety, or the questions are about the economy, and is this a smart time for me financially to move? And you should be prepared to have both of those dialogues. So an agent needs to be paying close attention to what's going on with the economy and with the virus, and be able to have powerful conversations, not to talk somebody into doing something they shouldn't do, but you don't want people to say no and they don't know what they're saying no to. So you want to be clear about being what we're supposed to be in Keller Williams, which is a consultant. And when things get very uncertain, our role as a consultant is so much more important than the role of a salesperson. And our consultant can't consult without knowledge. So I hate to tell you, I know a lot of you are sick of it, but you need to be reading the news or listening to the news every single day about the virus and the economy so that you can educate and inform consumers. So you should do that from 8 to 9 or 9:30. You're literally closing out your database, and then from 9:30 to 11 or 11:30, you should be on the phone with your entire Met database, and that is a different phone call. That's a call of, hey, Chris, buddy, Gene Rivers, how you doing today, my friend? I'm calling you. Do you have 5 minutes? I'm calling you because I'm trying to see if there's anybody in my world that's been afflicted by the virus or by the downturn in the economy, and how I can help. So is everybody safe? Nobody's got the virus in your family, friends, or coworkers? Nobody? God bless you. I'm glad to hear that. Is there anybody, though, that you know that has been affected by the economy? Do you have an aging parent? who's maybe been affected by the crash in or the downturn in the stock market, low on money? Is there somebody who needs food deliveries? I can help you out maybe a day a week, but tell me what I can do to help you. And then they're going to say whatever they're going to say. And then they say, well, the last thing I want to talk to you about is there's going to be continuing damage once the virus has passed in our economy. And there are going to be people that are in trouble due to they lost a job or they're not getting bonuses, or there's going to be a lot of stuff. And my experience with the last downturn in 08 is that people that get into economic trouble in terms of their housing, they get into denial and they wait too long before they deal with the reality of their situation, and they end up getting a foreclosure notice because they were just not paying attention. There are also people that are reading, they are paying attention, but they're reading and hearing about stuff like forbearance. And the truth is that can maybe help some people, but it could also hurt some people if they take forbearance. So I want you to be clear about this. I need you to keep your ears open about people that are concerned and maybe concerned about their economy to the extent of their housing, their mortgage. And I want to be a consultant to those people. I can help people make better decisions by telling them what I know about the economy and the tools that are available in finance to help them. And some of them might need to sell, and some of them might need to do a refi and not take forbearance. Some of them need to maybe just stay put and hunker down and cut their personal expenses. But I want to be a consultant like that for you and your friends. So will you keep your ears open and give me a shout out if there's somebody I should call and try to talk to and help them before it's too late? So will you do that for me, Chris? And they're going to say, yeah, sure. So that's what you need to do. Now, the course of doing that, you will build your new pipeline. It's going to happen. So you need to focus literally half a day on being on the phone or email or text, but you are in communication with your pipeline and your entire Met database. And you need to do that. And you actually have the time to do it now. Because the funny thing about growth and change, if you think about E to P, this is what you're all going through is E to P. And if you think about growth and change, it always involves something very simple. When you want to grow, when you want to fight through something, a challenge, you have to do more of something you're doing. You have to stop doing something you're doing, and you have to add something that you've not been doing. And what's happened to us has not been our intentional decision, meaning the virus popped up and said, you know what? You're going to stop meeting with buyers and sellers. You're going to stop open houses. You're going to stop personal consultation. You're going to stop all that stuff. You're going to stop it. So immediately what should happen? You've already all along been talking to people. You've been talking to buyers and sellers and people you met at Opens. You've been talking to people. And now all of a sudden, you need to talk to a lot more people, because there are people that are going to buy and sell real estate right in the middle of this. And if you talk to a lot more people, you will find those people. Yep. If you look at your board, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, if you look at your board in the last 7 days, have there been new listings put in the board?
Yes.
Have there been pendings posted in the board?
Yes.
And are there closings every week in the board?
Absolutely.
Okay. And the numbers might be going down, but until there's zero, you can't tell me there's not opportunity out there. You just can't tell me. And the truth is, there's more opportunity than you're seeing, because a lot of agents are not reaching out to people and calming them down and explaining how they can still get it done. There'd be more listings if more agents were doing that, and there'd be more pendings, and there'd be more closings if we were literally true consultants trying to help people make great decisions in challenging times. And we're not reaching out enough to those people and asking them, who do they know that I could talk to? So I think that's the biggest opportunity right now, Chris, because these are people that want to do business now. And if you can go find them now, you're literally going to be taking market share. If you talk to the top agents and businesses in general, nobody wants to go through a recession, but we all know the gift of a recession, which is your competitors start to fall away. Nobody's trying hard. Most of NAR is sitting back right now in the entire industry going, we're just going to wait till this virus thing is over, and then we'll get back to it. And that's the time you go and attack and take market share, because nobody's trying right now. And literally, wake up. Underneath this virus wave, and after it, the big wave of economic recovery, underneath all of that, there are people who want to buy and sell real estate.
Yep.
The issue is, can you find them? That's the issue. Can you find them? And I think there's a proven path to find them. And we've already talked about number one. Number one is you need to be on the phone every day, 3 hours a day or more, talking to your pipeline and your past clients and sphere. The second thing is about stranger business. This is about taking market share. The market share piece right now, I think we have a market of the moment, and I think it's crystal clear to people that are really diving into it. And it's videos. And it's videos on YouTube and Instagram. And I'm not saying that just because I think so. I've been watching some key things that are happening in the business world and with our own industry. And I put two pieces together, and a lot of other agents have. I'm not unique in this. Number one, everybody's sitting at home. Everybody's online doing business, and everybody's online looking at videos about anything and everything they ever wanted to watch a video about. There are people that are watching and I know these people doing this, they're watching every episode of Mad Men from the beginning to the end because they've never seen the whole thing together. I know people that are watching all of Star Wars from beginning to end. They're binge watching, you pick the series, they're binge watching the whole thing.
Yep.
But there are people that have interest in real estate that are online watching videos about real estate. They have interest. And when you put those two things on the table, it ends up in something very important. Number one, YouTube said, and this is the evidence, YouTube said there's so many people, this was 3.5 weeks ago, they came out with an announcement. There's so many people streaming video off of our service that we can no longer stream any high definition video. All we're able to stream now is regular definition video due to the high volume of video watching. And at the same time, 3.5, 4 weeks ago, I heard about people doing virtual open houses. And I immediately reached out and talked to some people that were doing them. And one of them was a couple in Atlanta, Georgia, the Peters. Some of you may know Andy and Lesley Peters, great people and great agents. They've been #1 in the Southeast region off and on many years, and they got a large team and a big business. And when I talked to her, it was their second week that they've been doing virtual open houses. And she said that they had done 3, an agent in each one. Lesley did 1 and 2 of their team did the other 2. One of the agents posted it, had about 340 views of the virtual open house. The other one had 600 and some views of the virtual open house. And Lesley had over 2,100 views of her virtual open house.
Wow.
All they did when they shot these virtual open houses was send a link out. They put it on YouTube and sent a link out to their entire Met database. Check out our virtual open house and please share it with friends. No advertising, no boosting, no nothing. Just send it out to their Met and past clients and ask them to share it with anyone they knew. 2,000 views. Now, immediately, and if you were paying attention, you would have seen this 3 or 4 places around the country. People are doing this a lot now. And all of a sudden on KW, we now have training programs on KW. We're the fastest company to react on how to do virtual open houses, how to do, parties, watch parties, all kinds of stuff now. There's all kinds of information about it. But here's the point. Your people, your Met database, you need to be talking to them through video right now, because that's what they're doing is they're sitting home and they're watching video. And you should be doing 2 things very distinctly. Number one is you should be sending them a weekly report card on the market. And you prep it up by saying, in these times of uncertainty, I want you to have crystal clarity about what's going on in the real estate market. So Bob and Mary, every single week, I'm going to send you an update on the market for the last 7 days. And we use a simple report form, and it says last 7 days, this many new listings, this many pended, this many closed. And every 7 days we send that. The importance of this is not to be underestimated. If people have doubts and are uncertain, the most powerful thing they can see from you is every single week, new listings, new contracts, new closings. 7 days later, new listings, new contracts, closings. 7 days later, because what you're doing is you're answering the question, gee, can you still sell a house in the middle of all this? And every 7 days you're going, yes, 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 yes. And you've eliminated the question of, can I sell my house? You've literally eliminated that question with facts, factual evidence about that fact. And that will create curiosity. Well, it looks like we can sell and move, Mary. I wonder how they're doing it. And boom, these are their other videos. Here's how we sell your home and help you find and buy a home on a digital platform, start to finish. And then you need to shoot separate videos about that. So I believe you need to be doing video tours of all of your listings. And if you haven't gotten those done, you need to do those like yesterday. You need to hold virtual open houses, and the video tour of the house to be attached as a link to your MLS listing is not the same video as the virtual open house. The video tour of the property is a tour of the property. You can describe the property off camera, but the virtual open house is you in the video demonstrating and discussing the property. Now, if you can't get inside the property, then you ask a seller to shoot a video of their property without them in the property, in the video, and tell them, and don't talk, just do a view, and I want you to shoot it room by room. I don't want you to shoot one video winding through the house. Do it room by room and then stop, and then send it to me. And then you, the agent, needs to go on camera and do an introduction. Hi, thanks for coming today to my virtual open house. We're going to tour 1515 Smith Street. You ready to go? Yep, let's go inside the foyer. And now comes the video that the seller shot of walking through the foyer, not saying a word, and you can do a voiceover on it. Notice the trim work, notice the size of the foyer, blah, 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 blah. So you make this a personalized video by getting the seller to send you those individual room tours 101. You put that together, a list of property views, that would be a channel on YouTube, one of your channels, and then you do another channel on property information, meaning process information, meaning how we buy and sell your home on a digital platform with no need to get risk from the virus.
Wow. All I'm going to say is, what I love about you is you talk the talk and you walk the walk. And fantastic information. We don't have time for questions, but it's funny you brought up the Peters because Andy and Lesley are actually on the call and they're speaking next. So not sure if you knew that, but
well, how's that for a handoff?
Thank you, Gene.
You would have thought we planned that.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I think the Peters texted Gene before the call.
Well, Gene knows everything, so he probably already knew that. He's a Jedi master.
Andy, baby, is that you and Lesley already?
Hey, Gene, we got on early so we could hear you.
Well, I was just teeing it up for you, so the pressure's on, kids.
So on that note,
Okay.
thanks.
Hey, Gene.
That was awesome.
Gene, thanks again. Really appreciate your time. You're awesome.
Absolutely.
You're the best.
Y'all hit it out of the park, kids. No, y'all about to hear the best now.
Brandon, want to take it away, buddy? Hey, Leslie. Hey,
Yes.
Andy.
Good morning.
Hey, y'all.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you guys for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday morning.
Thanks for having us.
Gene already gave you the intro. So if you guys, we really do appreciate you guys coming on and pouring into us. If you could just maybe talk about some of those videos, the marketing you guys are doing, the virtual open houses, some of the wins you guys are having. I'd love for our people to hear that. And anything else you'd like to share?
Well, Gene, we lovingly refer to Gene as our real estate dad. So before we start off, let's talk about that just briefly. We got some of the best advice years ago from our actually regional owner of the Southeast. And Andy and I were really struggling at the time, like really thinking bigger. And we were the biggest team in our market center. And I think we'd only done like 100 units, maybe 100 units, 75 units. And met with the regional owner, and he said, so listen, you guys have got to find out who you want to be when you grow up. And you got to go and search for who that is and get into a relationship with them. And so we did that back in 2014 with Gene. And
well, you kind of have to do like a 36 touch for the people that you want to get in your life, right? You do the same thing for the people that are going to help you get to where you want to be. So I think I stalked Gene for easily a year.
stalk, literally.
I tracked him down finally. But yeah, no, he certainly helped us take the business to the next level. We went from about 34 million to 120 million in, how long did it take us? 4 years. Yeah, so he was instrumental in helping us do that, and it was growth through people. It was success through others, and you know that's the gift of the book. So he just kind of kept us on track and kept us growing the business through the book.
And still is today.
I loved what Gene was saying though about the video. There's Lesley's got an example of the one that Gene was talking about that's had thousands of views. We just posted one yesterday. They let me get behind the camera, which is dangerous.
It was your first debut. It
was my debut of doing a virtual open house. And so that was posted. I actually posted it late last night, like 11 o'clock. It's on my Facebook page, Andy Peters. So you can go check it out and kind of see what one looks like. But really the way he was describing it is exactly the way we do it. We splice up room by room. There's certainly commentary around the features of the home, and then there's kind of play-by-play as well as color commentary on the house.
Too, Chris, one thing that has really helped us is the first time, it's just failing forward, right, when you first do it. But my director of marketing was awesome. She said, just take your iPhone, but whoever is filming it, make sure that you leave white space. So you just are filming for 5 seconds before the person starts talking. And then you film 5 seconds at the end after they stop talking. So then it makes the video a lot easier to splice. And we actually have Christina, our director of marketing, a video of her actually editing one of ours. And I'll be happy to share that. We edit them all through iMovie. And she walks you through exactly how to do it. So I can send you guys that link afterwards, because especially for individual agents, if you're like me, I mean, I'm not very techie and I cannot do that kind of stuff. So I will share that link with you guys once this is over.
So you want to share with them what is going on right now? And
yeah, so one thing, Chris and Gaurav, that I think has been amazing.
And Brandon.
And Brandon, you're on here too. That's right. All of you, all my favorite Philadelphia people. One thing that was really devastating for us when we found out about this entire COVID crisis is that we love our events. They are the backbone of our business, and we are 80% repeat and referral business. We have about a database of about 2,000 Mets, and we literally just market the heck out of it, and that's all based on events. And we actually were there teaching with you guys last year, 36 Touch. And so we immediately found out about this crisis and had to cancel our Easter egg hunt, which is typically a huge event for us, about 250 people. And then we had to turn around and cancel our next event 3 weeks later, which was our Kentucky Derby party. And that also is a huge event that raises about $2,000 for one of our favorite charities. And so we were devastated because we were like, we immediately have to replace this, right? We've got to figure out something to replace this. So the first thing we did is we'd already stuffed 3,000 Easter eggs. And we said, okay, these are stuffed with candy. Like, we have got to do something with them. And unlike you guys, I heard Gaurav and Andy talking on the phone on Saturday. I'm pretty sure you guys are non-essential. Is that right? Non-essential right now. Yeah, unfortunately, right? So we were still essential, and we said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to deliver Easter eggs to our top 150 families that have small children, and we're going to deliver them to our doors. So we basically mobilized our entire team and delivered them within 3 days, and the response was unbelievable. And we just wanted to touch them in some way. And we got so many messages about thank you for being a part of our community. And then the second thing is during our lead generation calls, as Gene was saying, like a lot of people were really panicked, and they immediately, if they experience negativity and tough times, right, during 2008, 2010, they go back to that and the fear really sets in. And Gene actually sent us 5 points, and it came from Keeping Current Matters, and he sent it to us, and he said, here are 5 reasons that 2020 crisis is not going to be like 2008. And I said, oh my gosh, we're sharing this with our agents, and we're talking to our 3 market centers about this, but we're not doing this with our database. So immediately I threw together a PowerPoint presentation and went over the 5 points, and we sent that out into our entire database. Via an email newsletter. We also posted it to our YouTube channel and all social media channels. And I think that was really important because they're just as concerned as we are. Like they're worried about their home value. So how can we calm their fears? And video has been such a great way for us.
Yeah. It's just about thinking about it differently. You know, I think a lot of people are acting like they've lost control. And we haven't lost control. We've lost the illusion of control, and it's time for us to take it back, right? The way that I kind of approach the crisis and have been leading our organizations is, you know, you got to have a plan, right? You got to have something that you look at every day that tells you I'm moving forward and I'm making progress. So you focus on the plan. You have to increase communication. So, you know, you're just like Gene was saying, you've got to increase the communication to your database, and you've got to tell them about the plan. And then the final thing, the third thing is you've got to share wins. And, you know, there's nobody's going to tell your story for you. You're responsible for telling it. And we have gotten into action very quickly. When all this went down, we started cutting expenses, obviously. We've cut expenses. There was a point a year ago where, I'm not really proud to say this, but we had over $100,000 a month in expenses for our business. And today we're down to what, 60?
A little less than 60,000.
So, I mean, and that's been before COVID, that was certainly something that we were working on, but even more so now. So we are leaner than we have ever been. When we look back at the middle of March, whenever we really went under shelter in place, we've averaged at least one deal, one unit under contract every day since the middle of March. So, you know, what's funny to me is a lot of people treating this like a snow day. And just like Gene said, you know, there's going to be, there's opportunities to take market share right now, market share that you won't get back. You know, so what are you doing, right? What's your plan? How are you increasing communication, and what are your wins? Maybe you don't have wins right now, but somebody does. Somebody in the market center has a win. Somebody in your city has a win. And you can tell that story. If you don't have a story of your own, you can tell that story. Borrow someone else's, but tell a story, right? Tell a positive story.
And I love when he was talking about the snapshot of the local market. So we started doing this a week and a half ago. I had our director of marketing pull the snapshot. So how many new active listings came on the market yesterday? How many pended yesterday? And how many closed yesterday? And so she pulls that every single day and posts that for our team on our internal mastermind. And the key there has been that our agents can watch the trends and they can tell the story. That even though they may not have found something, 1,000 houses pended in Atlanta yesterday, right? And so she's also taking that same graphic, and you can see this on our Facebook page, the Peters Company, she actually posted it yesterday. She's taking that same graphic, and on every Tuesday, she's posting that graphic on our website for our sphere to see, right? So telling them the story. And then she'll post a 30-day look in our email newsletter that goes out next week. So I think that has been really helpful, actually knowing your numbers and telling your story, because people don't realize that things are still selling. We had a funny story last week. Our listing agent was lead generating to his pipeline, and a person in his pipeline was probably a C seller, so listing 90 days out. And he calls him, and it's one of Andy's great friends. And he tells him how awesome the market is doing right now. And every single listing that we put on the market since March 15th has gone under contract at 100% of list price on average. And he didn't believe our listing specialist. So he immediately picked up the phone and he was like, man, this guy's a sales guy, right? Like, he's just telling me a story. And Andy was like, no, that is true. So how can we tell the story to our clients and provide data? Because emotion can't be the only way. We've got to provide the numbers. We've got to provide the facts and figures. So how well do you know your numbers?
Yeah. What's newsworthy?
One other thing that we did last week that I thought was helpful to our database is we did a fireside chat. So we actually replaced an event. We said, we've got to do something. We sent out a postcard and we invited everyone in our database to tune in to our Facebook channel on Thursday night at 5:30. And we said, bring your own glass of wine or beer, and let's just have a fireside chat about what's going on. And we posted 10 questions that we were going to kind of cover that we'd heard from lead generating to our sphere. And we just talked through them. So one of them was like, what do you do if you can't pay your mortgage, right? We talked about the difference between forgiveness and forbearance. And forgiveness and forbearance are two different things. So we talked about that. We talked about our home prices down, right? Our house is still selling. We had 10 questions that we went over. And I think we had over 1,000 views in the time frame where we were live on Facebook. And then that has continued to play out. But it was really great because after the call or the Facebook Live, I actually had a client reach out and say, hey, can we jump on the phone? I had thought about buying a house and made an offer about 3 weeks ago with one of your agents. And I just want to talk to you about it and get your opinion. So it really jump-started some good conversations for us in our database by just doing that fireside chat.
On that fireside chat, did you guys get like a bunch of questions beforehand, or were you just kind of making them up as you go?
So
Like,
we
did you
actually
engage people prior to get them to come view?
We actually ripped off and duplicated a list of questions that our friend Haro Satian in Greenville, South Carolina had used. And I mean, they were all rather generic questions. But yeah, you can find that video on the Peters Company on Facebook.
And we prepped those questions because we did want to provide specific data, like how many homes have gone under contract in the last 5 weeks versus how many homes went under contract that same 5 weeks a year ago. And we could tell our database, hey, we're only down about 400 pending homes in Atlanta over a year ago. And that is not significant, right? That is just not a significant number. So preparing in advance. And then we also answered live questions. So we took live questions during the video, and there were some good ones.
And, and it's not perfect.
No.
I mean, our dogs are climbing all over us,
there was a human element to it.
Yeah. Don't let perfect get in the way of done, just get it done. Just do it. Right now, everybody's got dogs and kids walking in and, people ringing the doorbell, delivering stuff. I mean, all that stuff is going on. That's normal. So it doesn't have to be all buttoned up. It doesn't have to be the most professional video. In fact, I think it's actually better if it's not.
I think so many of us are paralyzed in fear. I mean, I'm going to be quite honest. When I found out we were going Facebook Live for 30 minutes, I begged our director of marketing. I'm like, instead of Facebook Live, can we just film it? And she's like, no, we'll get so many more views. I mean, here, Andy and I have been on stage at Mega Camp in front of thousands of people, and I'm like paranoid about Facebook Live, but I think you just have to jump in and get over it. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Human element is awesome. I was going to talk about consumer app.
Yeah.
If this is cool. Did we advertise our virtual opens on Facebook first? We did not advertise them on Facebook first. We basically just failed forward on that. Another thing I will say is virtual open houses have really been great for us in reverse prospecting. And I'm not sure if you guys have this in Philadelphia, but we can basically go in the back door of the MLS and we can find out all the agents that have buyers searching in a particular neighborhood and price point. And so then we were actually sending that video to those agents, and actually we got a house under contract just solely on the reverse prospecting. So by the way,
the
this
dog's
is our
behind
dog
us, nosing the camera here.
So that was really helpful with virtual open houses. Andy, we went to Command on April 1st.
Yeah, in an effort to cut costs, we were kind of holding out on going into Command because we had heard from other people that maybe the team function is not there yet, and yet it's changing every single day. We just decided, hey, we've got the time. Our operations people, they're not as busy as they once were. Our salespeople have the time to scrub the database well and complete it. I mean, the database is a giant fill in the blank game. And as they're lead generating and making need generation, not lead generation, need generation calls, then they're just filling in the blanks. Most need generation calls start with the personal and they end with business. You ask them about something personally, they ask you, how are you doing personally? Except for going personal, you go business. And as a result of that, you end up having a real estate conversation. So it kills two birds with one stone. But the best part about it is that you can continue to fill in the blanks within the database by, just asking people questions. What are they doing? What are their interests? Probably what they're doing right now has a lot to do with what their interests are. So getting into Command, yeah, I mean, that saved us $1,000 a month.
Just off the bat. Yeah. One thing I will say too is us getting into Command has really made the consumer app experience, put it at the forefront of what we're doing right now. So we said, how in the world can we use this time when everybody's home, downloading apps on their phone more than ever, on the internet more than ever, how can we get them to download our consumer app and really make a big rollout for that? So we're sending a postcard in 3 weeks, and then we're going to lead generate around the postcard. And we're actually going to run a contest. So for adults, the contest is download our app and you're entered to win a 3-night stay at our condo in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So we're going to run that promotion all the way through May and announce the winner live on Facebook on June 2nd. And we're going to have our agents texting, right? Our agents calling around that, just to make sure their people are getting their name entered in the drawing by downloading the app. So that's really exciting. And then we were like, gosh, all these families are home with kids right now. And I mean, let's be honest, we have a 10 and 13-year-old.
I'm the dad.
You are the dad.
Yeah.
We have a 10 and 13-year-old, and we're kind of running out of things to do. So I said, let's do a coloring contest on the other side of the postcard. So we're actually sending a big, like 8.5 by 11 postcard. And on the large side, without the address, it's going to be a coloring contest. And it's a little boy or girl. There's no hair. There's no facial features. They have to make it themselves, holding an iPhone. And the only app that's on the iPhone is the KW app. And they have to color in and draw all the others. And then we're going to give away a prize to the winner. So we're just thinking differently. Like, how can we engage with our database? How can we lead generate when we're not calling for an event? And heck, now we can call and say, make sure your kids enter the coloring contest, right?
COVID-19 bingo.
Yeah, we did bingo. That's right.
We haven't done this yet, but a scavenger hunt.
It's on the list.
Scavenger hunt for people in their neighborhood, walking around their neighborhood. Yeah, how do you engage people differently right now and just have fun? I mean, we're doing things as a family right now. We pulled out Cash Flow, Robert Kiyosaki's game. We're doing that. Lesley's got us painting. We've got family competitions around painting. I think people are open to doing a lot of new and different things that they wouldn't have otherwise done.
And how active are you on social media right now? And not just for real estate. Oh, thank you that you liked our owl paintings, Brittany. Thank you, girl. I won that, by the way. Family competition, I won. So right now, it's how are you sharing and pouring into others in your sphere, and not just about real estate, right? So I try really hard every week to post on social media at least 5 times. And then what can you provide? So I shared the link to the live free painting lessons that our family's been doing. Just fun, because we've got to be the positivity right now, and stay on social media, be active there.
I love all of that. We have a few minutes here, so if anybody has any other questions, please post them in the chat. I love the idea about the postcard for the app rollout and the coloring on the back. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, make sure you use a matte finish. Most postcards are kind of shiny, have a shiny finish, but when you order them, make sure they're matte.
You know what? And when we priced that, we saved a lot of money because we did a matte finish. So that mailer is not going to be super expensive either because of that.
That's great. So which painting one was it? Bottom left?
Top left.
Bottom left was amazing.
I voted for bottom left, guys.
I appreciate that.
I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about, some of the video marketing or anything like that? I know I have a few questions about what you actually, what parts of Command you guys dove right into, what you're still working on. Where were the immediate cuts?
So our rollout basically first was to get our listing and our transaction coordination checklist and all of our pending files and our seller pipeline in there.
Into opportunities.
So that was the first. So that was even before April 1st. So our admin team started working, I think March 10th on starting to roll out all of that. And so by the time we actually got in April 1st, all that was already in there. And then the next phase was getting the contacts in. And that was really challenging for us. And it was really challenging because we had our contacts married instead of separated in our old system. So we had to actually separate every single person and break out email addresses and everything. And that just was a huge headache. If I look back on it, I would have our team is 15 agents right now, and our 15 people, and we're about half and half. We're 50-50 admin and agents. So that was a huge challenge, is breaking out those contacts. If you guys, our database was about 10,000 mets and unmets. And I would highly encourage you guys, if you have them married, hire someone. Just hire a tech person that can help you with the project. I'm sure KW, they have been so helpful with us. We actually had a call with KWRI. I don't know that you guys know this, because I sure did not know this. They are actually offering all kinds of sessions that you can purchase, and the prices are really inexpensive for them to actually do one-on-one training with you. So helping you with certain aspects. We just signed up for a marketing through Command session, and we also signed up for the consumer experience session. And so super inexpensive. And when you're getting your contacts in Command, if you have a ton, I would encourage you to call KWRI and just talk to them about the best steps to do that, because I think we did it the hard way.
And the next step would be, because we're tagging, we're creating new tags, as well as we haven't done this yet, but phase 3 would be smart plans, getting everybody on a smart plan that automatically, just kind of works in the background.
That's actually going to be phase 4, because phase 3 is right now, and that's what we're working on, is pipelines. So getting all of our agents' pipelines into Command and into opportunities. And so that's this week. And then next week is we're really starting to work on smart plans.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I love the realism. Do you guys have Scott Leroy marketing in your market centers?
No.
You partner with him? So we partner with, a lot of KWs do he'll basically a tech support for our office. He'll do all that contact migration and all that stuff for all of our agents for free.
That's huge.
Yeah, which is a couple people have already used them, and it's working out really well.
That is amazing.
You probably hear like my kids screaming in the background, but I respect everybody's time. I know it's 10 o'clock already, which is unfortunate, but I really appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate Gene for coming on. If anybody has any questions or anything, where can they reach you?
You can email us at wecare@thepeterscompany.com, and that copies both Andy and myself and our admin team. So we'd love to help you, and I'll send you that link, guys, so y'all can share the iMovie, how to edit.
Love it.
And find us on Facebook.
Will do. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Everyone, hope you have an awesome day. I hope you found some value in the call. If you have anything you need, let me know. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you both.
Guys.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
guys.
y'all.
Bye, everyone.